Hello again. So I've decided to have a go at jollof rice, but I started preparing before I decided that I was going to record it, so try to bear with me. I'm going to do this in some sections. First one is the rice. Now, the way that I do it, I don't know if this is the proper way of doing it, is I do the rice in a rice cooker, but however you like to cook your rice is fine. I tend to make a large amount of this so that I can save some for later. So I've gone with 3 cups, which is about 600 grams of basmati rice. But I've added water that I would normally do for about 400 or 500 grams worth of rice so that it comes out still not particularly soft. This is so that when you add it into the sauce, it doesn't go mushy, because it's going to be sitting in the sauce while it heats through with everything else a bit later anyway. So I'm going to show you now. In the rice cooker, it just looks like that. There is some rice in some water. So I'm going to start that going, and yep. For the rest of the ingredients, which we'll be using in a minute, I have got, again, for the large proportion of rice, we've got 2 onions, I've got a tomato, we've got the equivalent of about 3 cloves of garlic, 2 Scotch bonnet peppers, and 2 tins of peeled plum tomatoes. I tend to cook African stuff in palm oil, but you can use olive oil or coconut oil, whichever you want. Seasoning wise, I tend to use salt, black pepper, a little bit of nutmeg, and some dried red chili powder. So we'll wait for the rice to cook and then we'll come back to it. See you in a bit. Hello. So hopefully we are back now. So at this point I'm going to do the meat. So I've currently got some steak and some lamb, because I like both, and I had a small amount of each one. And I'm not afraid to mix these things up. Not shock horror. So I'm going to cube these up, give them a bit of seasoning. Normally you'd want to season them and then leave them to soak in the seasoning for a little bit, but I'm in a hurry and I'm tired. It's been a long day. So whatever size chunks you want, really. Gosh, I need sharper knives, don't I? So I'm just going to use some salt, some pepper and some chilli while the rice is still cooking but nearly done. Beef is easier. There you go. Trying to escape. Beefy beef. Beefy beef. Lammy lamb. Beefy beef. Now, some people don't like the fat, but I think it's really tasty, as long as it's crisp. But you don't have to if you don't want to. Go in there, and then we've got black pepper, probably about a teaspoon of black pepper. I've got about 500 grams of meat in there, but again, it's not something that really matters. It's entirely up to you. You can have 1 piece, you can have a kilo in there, as long as it's fried through. Again, that's about maybe a teaspoon of salt as well, and however much red pepper to taste, if you want any. I like things fairly spicy, so we'll give that a bit of a mix. Wash my hands. Right, so I'm using an instant pot, but you can use whatever you want to fry the meat. Saute. So while that's heating up, we're going to start on the vegetables. So we're going to put, which way around am I going to do this? The tomatoes, now, again, you can use any blender you want. You can use a hand blender, you can use a food processor. I'm going to use a NutriBullet because I can, and I don't have a food processor. And it's easier to clean these than hand blender. Unless you have a dishwasher, but I'm not posh, so there's no dishwasher. Come on, you. These tomatoes do not want to come out. Come on. There we go. Good Lord. There are a lot more tomatoes in there than there are usually. That might be a bit full. Oh well. So, that's the rice ready. I tend to quarter these so that the chopping blades have an easier time. I might only use 1.5 onions. Let's see how it goes. Got some spare leftover onion here from Alice. That's going to be a bit full, isn't it? I'm going to do this in sections because I've got too much stuff in there. And this is why I need a proper food processor. Taking this off camera so you can't see the mess I'm going to make. That was surprisingly mess free. There we go. Now, I've got some tomatoes and onion in one. Some tomatoes. Oh, the oil is hot enough at this point. Hooray, a slightly spoon. Right. Keep that stirring so it doesn't stick. And this you have to fry until it's nice and crispy. In some cases, nearly kind of burnt on the edges, but again, that's up to your taste. I tend to go with really crispy, not completely solid. Turn that down a little bit. Yeah. Finish off with the vegetables. So again, if you've got something like an Instant Pot that can do rice and frying and sauces and things like that, it's possible to do all of these in a single pot. It just means that you have to take the rice out and keep it to one side in a pot or a dish elsewhere whilst you do the other bits. I would do the rice first and then fry the meat and then the sauce last, and then once the sauce is cooked, as you'll see at the end, you add the other two in anyway. Right. Scotch bonnet peppers are amazing and they are very, very hot. After chopping them, make sure you wash your hands about 50 million times before you touch any part of you, like any part. If you rub your head, scratch your nose, it will burn. Come here, you. Right, so I'm going to keep the tomato to have any chunks later on. So don't forget, again, I've currently got the puree, but probably anything between 1 and 4 cloves of garlic. I tend to have a lot of garlic. We like garlic. Tomato puree wise, I tend to go with about half a tube, which is quite a lot, and this is quite a big tube, so anything between a third to half a tube. These are both going to be mixed together, so it doesn't matter which one they go in. So quite a lot. Tum-tum. There we go. So we are going to add some salt into the sauce, but only after we've done the mixing, because salt and sharp blades are not a good combination. It will blunt them. So this is going to get noisy. I apologise. That is one. Come on now, there we go. And 2. Give the meat a stir. Not sticky, this is good. Cooking nicely. So, yeah. You can't see I'm chopping the tomatoes. Look, tomatoes being chopped. This is entirely optional. To be fair, the majority is pretty optional. Sometimes I add spinach, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I add mushrooms, sometimes I don't. In this case, there's just the rice, the meat, tomato, onion, and Scotch bonnet peppers all blended up. Then what we're going to do is fry the sauce once the meat is done, then add the meat and the rice, mix it all in, simmer it through. But now we're going to just wait for the rice to cook, and we'll be back in a second. Just in the meanwhile, this is the rice. Ta-da! So, as you can see, it's cooked, but it's not super soft and mushy. It's hard to hold the camera up with this, right? See? It's really good rice. So I'm going to leave that lid off so that it doesn't go all soft. And yes, I'll get back to you when the rice is done. When the meat is done. Okay, so the meat is just about cooked now, as hopefully you'll be able to see. If I cover up the white center. No, this camera is not great. Basically, really cooked through now. Very cooked. So what we're going to do is turn that off, and we're going to put the meat into a dish. By the way, whilst the meat was cooking, I did the washing up, which I'm sure is something that everyone likes to hear from someone else in their house. But it's always good to keep your stuff washed while you're cooking, so you don't get to the end and have a shed load of washing to do. So just going to keep that meat off to one side. I could have left the meat in there and used the other pot I have for this, but we're trying to be economical or something on those lines. Oh, that is a bit sticky, isn't it? Anyway, never mind. So, I'm going to put that onto a fairly medium heat. This needs a decent amount of oil, because the sauce has to be cooked without stirring for at least the first 5 minutes. So we're going to heat that up. I mean, I would normally go with, let me see, about 3 to 4 tablespoons. I know it's quite a lot, but you don't want your sauce sticking to the bottom of your pan. So we'll give that a second to heat up. Meanwhile, we'll get the sauces ready. Come on, you. Thank you. Saucy sauce. Are you hot yet? This needs one of those little red dots in the bottom that says when the oil is very hot. Oh, now the other good thing to have is a splash guard, because this will spit quite a lot. Do you reckon that's hot enough? Let's go with yeah. Yeah, that's hot enough. So, you put this in. It's definitely separated, but that's fine, because the oil is supposed to fry, not stew. So we're not going to stir it for the first 5 minutes. I can get more out of those, can't I? Look. Just 1 second. Something I inherited from Mum is a dislike of waste. Oop, that is going everywhere, isn't it? Okay, we're going to give up on that for now, I think. That is spitting a lot. So we'll leave that to stew through on fairly high heat so that it is clearly frying, but not too hot. Right, I'll come back when the sauce is cooked in about 5 minutes. Okay, so the sauce is stewed for about 5 to 10 minutes, and you'll see why we had the splash guard. We needed the mesh so that it didn't keep all the steam in and therefore stew the sauce, because we wanted it to fry only. That is a lot of sauce. Let's not waste any of that, eh? Gosh. Wowzers. Saucy sauce. So you can see that it's still, you can't see, can you? So anyway, the sauce is still separated from the oil, so it hasn't mixed in and turns into an emulsion. That's the word I was thinking of before. It's still hot, it's all done. Now we can give it a stir. Stir. Now at this point, I'm going to add in 2 Maggi cubes, M-A-G-G-I. It's a seasoning thing. It looks kind of like a stock cube, but they're smaller. See if you can read that. Where's the camera? Maggie. Anyway, so I'm going to put 2 of those in because, like I said, it's a large concoction. Large concoction, that's the one. So I put 2 of those in. I'm going to put a few large dashes of Worcester sauce because I like the taste. I like lots of seasoning and things, but you don't have to do that bit. Chunks of tomato and the very fried meat. Give that a bit of a stir. Now the rice. That is a very hot pan. I'll just put that. So we've got, which we can see, a fairly decent amount of rice in here. I'm going to put the whole lot in. Now, if you've only got smaller pots, this is a, what was it, a 6 quart, whatever that turns into in litres. But if you've got a smaller pot than that, you want probably half all of the ingredients I've been talking about, because this bit is where it gets kind of full. You can also see why it can last a fair old while. It's very filling. So now I'm just going to mix it all in. Kind of like, what's that word? Risotto. Sort of. So quite a lot of the moisture will be absorbed into the rice, which is why we didn't want to have all of the water in with it, as you would normally do if you were cooking normal rice. Give that a good mix through. So it won't be quite this squishy when it's finished. Stir it all through really nicely. Ooh. At this point I would probably add about half a tablespoon to a tablespoon of salt. But again, trial and error, it's up to you how much salt you have. You might not want any salt. I'm going to put a bit of turmeric in there because it's healthy. I'm going to like when things get turned yellow around. Good stir through, everything stirred in. Stirry stir, stirry stir. I know why you can't see because I forgot to turn the light on. There you go, it looks very orange. Basically it's a fried tomato and onion soup mixed in with some nearly cooked rice and some very fried beef, or lamb, or chicken, or mushrooms, or tofu. So that is the difficult bit, and then if you've just got a saucepan, you can put that onto a low heat and put the lid on, or in my case it's slow cooker or an instant cooker or whatever. I'm just going to put it onto a normal temperature for meat, stew, whichever, for 20 minutes say, on a lowish heat so it doesn't burn, and then we leave it. Come back when that is done. Okay, so it's about done now. Beep, lots of beeping over here. See that one. So that has now cooked through. Still very steamy. And the rice has now gone to the normal softness of rice. Almost looks like a biryani, doesn't it? There we go. So this will probably feed, I mean, I'm not going to have a smallish portion, but they'll probably feed 4 or 5 people if they were pretty damned hungry. Let's get some more meat in there. have it. That is off. Lid goes on. And that can be reheated by adding about 2 tablespoons of water, whether that's in a pan or in one of these. 2 tablespoons of water, put on the lid and put it onto low heat until it's cooked through, stirring every couple of minutes or so. And there we have it. Some jollof rice. Ta-da! Hope that made sense. I'll try and put a list on of the actual ingredients so you can read them. Until next time, bye.